Been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.
There can be no excuses for Raja Jackson, in my opinion. Um, I've been watching him with his father, Rampage. I'm a fighter myself. I'm from a family of fighters. My cousin actually, I think I met Rampage years ago, probably 2007 or 8. He fought my cousin, Marvin Beastman Eastman. He fought my cousin in Vegas. And my cousin was a champ at the time, and he beat my cousin. That's the one time I remember meeting Rampage. I was, long time ago. And I wasn't fighting at the time. I started fighting not too long after that. The thing is, I grew up fighting. I used to be a gangbanger. But before that, my older cousins that were gangbangers, they would have friends of theirs that had little brothers and little cousins, and they would bet money on us. And when parents weren't around, they would have me fighting my other cousins' little brothers and their cousins, and they would have like Thunderdome, like like American Gladiators when I was a kid. And I have my father's a big, strong man, so I come from a family of big men, and there's rules. It comes with size and strength. There comes a responsibility where you have to know when to stop, and you have to understand that you can hurt people, and you have to be able to control yourself. They build prisons for men like myself when they don't have the mental capacity to know when to stop. If you have too much feminine in you, if you have too much of your mother in you, you're going to want to fight and be angry, and you're not going to want to avoid conflict, and you're going to do things like attack someone and nearly kill them, or you're going to accidentally kill someone. Now, if you're a 25-year-old man and you're drinking and driving and you know that's illegal, and you blow a light and you hit a car and people in that car are seriously injured or they die, you go to jail. That's how it works. Even though you might have not have meant to do it, you were out having a good time, you were celebrating a promotion or a birthday, you didn't mean to do it, but you did it. There are still consequences. Unfortunately, in this situation, Raja Jackson won't face any of those consequences. I can tell you what's going to be the first thing that I see them doing now. Raja Jackson, this incident, for one, this incident happened in California. The climate of the American culture right now is that if you're a black person and you harm or you kill a white person, you're celebrated, and you're actually given money on GoFundMe's, and the black community and the gay community are going to support the hell out of you because substantially they actually hate white men. Stu was a white man, a veteran, and a pro wrestler, still amateur, but in a pro scene. What happened to him was horrible. I could not imagine. I'm larger than Rampage Jackson's son. I couldn't imagine being on top of someone and hitting them twice, let alone 20 something times to the face. They would die. You watching me on video, in person, I'm a lot bigger and I'm a lot stronger than most men. He's a trained fighter, probably similar to me when I was 25. Um, there's no way in hell we are hitting anyone, and we're not trying to give them brain damage or make sure that they never get up again. I've been in fights where I was mad and I was similar to Raja Jackson, but once the person is on the ground, I'm done. Once the threat is neutralized, whether I'm in a club, whether I'm in the ring, wherever I'm training, it doesn't matter. You have to know when to stop. You don't see someone incapacitated on the ground and you keep hitting them. You can't do that. My father taught me when I was a child there's rules to being a big, strong man. The first rule is you don't jump on anyone who doesn't want to fight you back. Another rule is you don't jump on someone who can't fight you back. If I saw the man that played Tyrion Lannister and he's talking crazy to me somewhere, unless he has a gun or a knife, I'm not going to let Tyrion Lannister, I forgot his name as an actor, he's a great actor. I'm not going to let myself lose my temper over Tyrion Lannister where I grab him and just start pummeling him because I'm upset. Do you know how weak and feminine that is, that you see red and you lose your temper to the point where you're fighting someone who physically could not defend themselves against you on their best day? I look at Raja Jackson, and I've been watching him because I think his dad is hilarious. I stream. I'm just started streaming, but me and him have similar we have similar jokes and personality. But we're both fighters, so we make jokes like that. We're kind of edgy. His son seems like he's just along for the ride. If you ever listen to him talk, it doesn't seem like there's much going on upstairs. And I don't think that his father raised him. I think he was raised with his mother. When he became of age, he moved in with his dad. Now his dad's trying to groom him to be a fighter, but it starts when you're young. You have to know how to handle conflict. Bro, I've hurt so many people physically that you would have to pay me, or you would literally have to force me into a corner where I have no other choice for me to ever lift a finger towards anyone. I've been cussed out. I've been spat at. I've had people say all kind of things to me and threaten me. I walk away. You have to walk away. I've proven everything I needed to prove over the years to myself. I don't have anything else to prove. You walk away not because you're scared of this other person. You have to walk away because you're scared of what you'll do to this other person. People like me don't have to act tough or act hard. We don't have anything to prove. Some people do. And I keep looking through the comments, and everyone's making excuses for this kid. He's not a kid, he's a 25-year-old man. This is, most men don't even live to be 25, especially if you're coming from his background. So he's up there in age. He's not, a teenager. You have to know right from wrong, and we build prisons for people who cannot figure out right from wrong. You have to worry about him now doing this when he gets frustrated in a relationship with a woman. You have to worry about this when he's getting frustrated with a flight attendant on an airplane. You have to now watch him losing his shit because he's not properly wired. You got to worry about him in situations. Someone with a temper and someone who's not all the way there, but yet you're not a pro fighter and your dad's not a man built, and you don't have the genetics to hurt people. You're not much of a threat. You would need a weapon. But when your body's a weapon, you have to be careful. You can hurt people. You can't, and in the civilized society, you can't go around hurting people. That's the responsibility that comes with the size and the strength. Unfortunately, because Stu is white and because he's black, he's not going to go to jail in California. What they're going to do is, and they're already doing it now, they're going to find something on the internet that Stu said 12 years ago on Twitter or 15 years ago, and they're going to accuse Stu of being a racist because he's a white man. They're going to use that justification or something like that to make it seem like Raja Jackson got into a fight with a racist, defended himself, and that's going to be the narrative. The waters are going to become so muddy, being that this is California, they're not going to get a grand jury to indict him. The best Psycho Stu is going to do is going to be able to sue the venue. He's going to be able to sue the promoters. Raja Jackson is 25 years old, MMA. He's not worth anything. He doesn't have anything right now. And because of that, there's not really much. You can't get blood from a turnip. He's not going to be able to sue his father. His father wasn't there. So, but he does have a major lawsuit against I think it's the WWE and against the promoter. He'll be able to sue them. But Right now, you got to think about it. They don't even want to charge Carmelo, who stabbed and killed a white kid named Austin in Texas. The all the black people and the gays in the country are literally fighting tooth and nail to justify a black kid stabbing this boy in the heart simply because he was a white kid that talked to him and approached him. So in the eyes that are supporting this that happened with Raja, if Carmelo had blew the kid away and blew away all the white kids that were standing around them, the black community would have donated more money to him. People don't realize that you're living next door to people who hate you. These people have been groomed since they were children to feel like they should get revenge for a slavery that only people that talk about it is them. Nobody really tells any story about it but them. You don't know if it's even true. Roots is not actually a documentary. It's actually fiction that some man named Alex Haley made up, and he was sued about it. And he admitted that I just made all these stories up. This is not even what slavery was or how it was. But in the minds of this community, they want revenge. They want to see blood spilled. But they don't have okay, well, after we spill blood, what are we going to do next? I mean, if you look at it, they can't even maintain the cities that they took over. What's the status of Chicago right now, or Detroit, or Los Angeles? That's what you want to have in charge, and those are the kind of people that are supporting anything that is a black person attacking or harming someone who's white. And unfortunately, because this is California and Stu being white, the odds are not in his favor that there's going to be any kind of justice at all. Most crimes in California are not even being prosecuted anymore. They don't even have law enforcement. I'm from Los Angeles. I'm a Los Angeles native. Our city is gone. Our city's gone. Our state's gone. I'm doing a segment in about an hour where we're going to go over what does the federal government do, even if a state and its citizens and its governance that they vote in favor of lawlessness, which is what this is. When you want to remove laws for immigration and laws for prosecuting crimes because you want to keep your constituents happy so that they vote for you, what does that mean? What does that mean for our country? Can you vote in favor of lawlessness? And there are Supreme Court precedents that block that, but we're in a constitutional crisis right now. On a macro level is the Raja Jackson psycho stew, but there's a bigger game being played here, and it's happening right before our eyes. So again, I look at this kid, and I don't know why I call him kid. He's just younger, but it doesn't seem like he's the sharpest tool in the shed, and he has the size and the strength, but he's not cognizant of what he's doing, and that's not an excuse for him. You still have to be responsible for your actions, whether you did it on purpose or not. Remember my analogy about if you had a DUI crash, you still are responsible for your actions. But they're not going to hold him responsible, and because of that, he's not going to be prosecuted. And you got to think about it: 20-something punches to the face from a pro fighter. Stu had no idea this was coming. Stu thought they were playing around. Stu had just kind of poured his heart out and apologized to him backstage. People were like, oh, he hit him with a can. It was a prop fucking can. It was all props. He didn't, if you look at Stu, he crushed the can with his hand. It didn't actually hit Raja's head. Just the liquid that was in it splashed on him. It was all props. It was all fake. Raja knew that and literally later down the line decided to do this. Oh, well, the promoter told him he could do it. What if the promoter said, hey, if you even got in there, you wanted to shoot him, you could shoot him too. So what are you guys going to say? He gets in there, shoots this guy. Oh, I mean, the promoter said it's okay, then it's okay. That's not how the fucking law works. It's because somebody tells you can do something illegal, like harm someone or shoot them or stab them, punch, that doesn't mean it's okay. Well, someone told me to do it. Okay, well, that doesn't matter. You're still going to jail. You should have said no. Oh yeah, they told me I can go in there and just rob the liquor store. It's no big deal. Somebody else told him. I guess it's okay. Wrong. That's not how it works. So he should be held accountable. Luckily for him, he wasn't. He's in a blue state, and shit. Now that they've already deported most of their constituents, They're trying now. They're going to go back to having to keep the black community happy. They're trying not to prosecute black criminals for murder, for robbery, anything they can do to let someone go. They're going to do it because they need you to vote. In California, like I said, because Stu is a white man, they're going to see him as being conservative. He's not gay, so they're going to call him a Trump supporter. And they're against Stu, and they're going to be pro Raja because they would see him as a Democrat. You know, all this stuff connects. You got a larger scale, then you have the macro scale. So that's why he's going to walk. But let's go ahead and go through the timeline. This is a video that we're going to play from Raja Plus. This is a guy on Kick from Raja. This is actually from Raja's page, but we're going to just play it.
Andre, who was on the stream the last time, is having a pro wrestling show, and I told him I will come and support, and then I wanted to bring you guys with me. You know what I'm saying? Where's the real McKill at? Where's he at?
You don't need to worry about him. You need to be worried about Cycle Stu.
Unless you have an IQ under 60, you can listen to this conversation he's having in jest with all these grown men smiling, laughing, and talking that he meant he meant Raja no harm. Raja is likely autistic. People don't understand why there's so many problems in the black community. As someone who grew up in the black community, around the black community, most of my life, I went to school with black kids that were my age who could not read. Not because they were dumb or because they were slow, was because they had mental aptitude, they had mental disabilities that were undiagnosed. And you wonder why there's so many black men that go to jail because they're impulsive, they're quick to kill someone or attack someone and go to prison. And it's like, well, was he not thinking about the consequences? It hurts to think when you're vaccine injured, when your brain is swollen, focusing, complicated situations, having to process data in your head, it gives you a headache. The anger, the mood swings, it's all a part of being autistic. If you look at Robert F. Kennedy Jr., if you were given an MMR vaccine in the 80s or the 90s, which they affect black boys differently than they affect all kids of other races. That's why you see so many undiagnosed, especially on the West Coast, with mental illness, black males due to vaccine injury. And Robert F. Kennedy Jr. talked about it. You have a 400% higher odds of autism in black boys that were injected with the MMR vaccine or even the one for tetanus or polio. It is because there's a direct correlation between the vaccines and testosterone levels. Testosterone levels are higher in dark black boys than they are in any other boys. So that's why when Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said the entire vaccine schedule is an attack on black boys, this is what he was talking about. Now, an undiagnosed autistic black boy that becomes a professional fighter with anger, it is not necessarily an anger issue, it's just they're not able to process information and data. They have limited wherewithal. They're just not there. They're not cognizant. They can't really have a complicated, complex conversation with someone. They're not all there. It's not necessarily their fault, but you cannot make excuses. You got to figure out how to stay within the boundaries of society. Because again, they build prisons for people that can't stay within that narrow boundary of civilized society. So if he's standing around a group of men where everyone's smiling and laughing and he can't figure out that he's saying, well, you got a problem with Cycle Stu. And they're joking around. That's why you hit them with a prop can. There's a camera filming them. These men are there for work right then. They don't know if this is a behind the scenes skit. They're performers, they're acting. You're not supposed to think that the actors are actually serious and real. The excuse they're trying to make for Raja is the excuse they would make for a woman who walks up to a man that she's seen on her favorite soap opera and she throws her fucking coffee in his face because he cheated on his wife in the soap opera. Lady, I'm not really William McCall. My name is Jonathan. I'm actually an actor. That is a show. It's not reality. But if you're an autistic person, if you're a person with a mental disability, you're not able necessarily to distinguish reality from make-believe, and they kind of run concurrent with each other mentally. And if you're looking at this scenario, look at Raja Jackson right now. All these men are having a good time. They seem like they're backstage free. Nobody means him any harm. That would be easy for a normal person of mental cognizance to figure out. He can't. He feels surrounded. He feels played. His emotions are taking over. He becomes a woman trapped in a man's body. And all women know how to do, for the most part, in situations, is lash out, fight, anger. We just did a video about a woman that pulled a bat on a man who she thought hit her car with his shopping cart, and he pulled a gun on her. Also a California person. This incident's happening in California. Again, he is, if you look at him when he talks, how he moves, he's autistic, he's undiagnosed. Many black men are, especially if you were in the western part of the country. I don't see as many black men from New York or Chicago with those same disabilities. But in other parts of the country, you can tell which black males have when they have a reduced mental capacity. The way you're able to judge them is because if they have a sister and you guys grew up in the same home with the same parents, but yet the brother is down here and the sister's here. Remember, if these injections are testosterone based, that means they're not going to affect estrogen the way they affect testosterone. So your daughter will be normal and your son's fucked. And that's why you see such a discrepancy between the men and the women in that community. And that's why the community is basically being ran by women. The men have been mentally incapacitated according to our HHS Secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the males have been incapacitated by childhood vaccines that were given to them unnecessarily. And it looks like that's what's happening here. Listen, again, let's watch the video. He's surrounded by men who are having a good time talking to him. It's like they're showing him the ropes. And he takes it seriously.
Psycho Sue.
What, you don't know me?
Hell no. Yeah.
I think that's what's Oh, you don't. Easy.
It's a fake fucking can. The can did not even touch his head. The liquid in the can sprayed out because Stu squeezed the can. Let's watch it again. They're pro wrestlers. This is what they do. They hit you with prop chairs, a prop can, a fake bottle it's not a real bottle. It's not a real can. He could feel that. But again, he's not there mentally. He's not able to process it. Now, his father, since he's been an adult, has been his caretaker. His father knows he's vaccine injured. His father knows he has a mental disability. His mother told him. His mother probably warned Rampage that his sons were going to be a problem. And you know what Rampage said? I'm going to put bail money to the side for my black sons, and I'm going to put college money to the side for my Japanese sons. He knew his son had a problem, and he should never have let his son be somewhere in public without him there. He gained, especially them being on their streamers now. He thought his son could probably handle himself. You've never really seen his son in a situation by himself. His dad's always there because his dad is really his caretaker. But, being a caretaker full time for an adult man, it's hard. That's why Rampage is like, you know what, if he goes to jail, he goes to jail because Rampage is hoping that maybe prison can break him out of the mental illness and the issues he has. I have one of my best friends has a big ass, my best friend, another big dude like me, his brother's bigger than both of us. About to go pro ball, but the mental illness, once you're not being protected by your coaches and you're being in the world temporarily without coaches and people, guiding you, You do things and you mess up and you end up going to jail. Big dude, big strong dude could have went to NBA or NFL, in prison right now. They can't really let him out because he can't function in society. Jackson is like that. Rampage Jackson's son is like that. Jackson has to be there because Jackson is from a time before the vaccines, or it would have affected him the same way. He has to be his son's caretaker, but that's a lot on him. What about his life? What about his responsibilities? Can't be two places at once, and he should never have let his son be there without a manager with him or a team around him that can translate the world to him. He can't figure this stuff out on his own when it's obvious, man. This kid was a time bomb. You know, I see this a lot. People are like, "Oh, why'd the police kill that guy?" And then his parents show up, his mom. He has a mental illness. He's going through all this mental. Okay, if your son has all these known mental illnesses and mental problems, why did you let him go to the grocery store by himself? Why are you allowing him to drive? Why are you telling him, okay, go to school and come home, and you're not with him all the time? You're rolling the dice with the public, sending this fucking time bomb around the rest of us, hoping if it wasn't for the police, he would do something to one of us in the public. If it wasn't for the police stopping him in his tracks, he will do something to one of us. If you know your child is not all there and they have mental illness, you need to be with them all the time. You can't just, well, they're grown now, let me send them off into the fucking world. You know your kid is not prepared for the world. You know death or prison is the only two options for people that cannot function successfully in society. Rampage just unleashed his son at a WWE event one day by himself, and he almost kills someone. These people know they have sons that have issues. I have a younger brother. You think my mom didn't know my younger brother had mental illness and mental issues? And they think they're crack babies, but your parents never smoked crack. They're vax babies. My brother had the same issues. My brother's also a fighter. And nobody I know has ever met him because he can't function in society. You know, he's off in his own world now. He's in his 30s, so, you know, and he's kind of learning, but, man, it took how long? How many years in prison did he have to do? Yeah, they say you grow out of it eventually, but is that a guarantee? What if you don't make it to the eventually? You know, you end up going to prison. You might not make it out of prison. You might not make it to prison, depending on what you're doing, and you get in trouble for it. And your parents, if they're not responsible, they just send you off into the world knowing that you're not mentally there. They know, but it's a responsibility that nobody wants, and you get tired. I'm sure Rampage Jackson is like, fuck, I'm tired of having to be there and be his caregiver 24/7. You know, and his son, you can tell when him and his son are joking around, his son doesn't get the jokes. His son just stands there like he's slow. Watch, go back through their streams. Go watch the streams. Rampage Jackson makes these jokes that are kind of complicated that you got to think of for a while. They're kind of roundabout jokes, and his son just sits there like, you know, he don't want to fight his dad, you know, which is smart, but his son doesn't get 90% of the jokes. He just thinks his dad is picking on him. He doesn't understand this is a comedy duo dynamic. We're making money where people want to see us hitting each other in the balls, taking cheap shots at each other, having a good time. A father, son, they don't want to, his son doesn't even understand that this is a business right now. We're streamers. His son's just thinking that there's a camera following me around. I don't know what the fuck this guy wants me to do. Should I do what the chat tells me to do this? I should do. His son is slow. His son has been slow. And I'm sure the mother warned the father and said, hey, that's why you got to take over now. I can't control him. He's fucked up. Not because the mother was on drugs, because Rampage was on drugs, is that there was a childhood vaccine schedule that is now being corrected, but it destroyed the lives and the minds of millions of young black males. And unfortunately, he's a victim here, and hurt people. He turned Stu into a victim when he didn't have to be.
Rampage Jackson needs to go to jail, and we got to talk about it. So this is Rampage
One of my
Jackson.
teammates, Andre, who was on the stream the last time. Hell no. Yeah.
Rampage Jackson needs to go
One of
to
my
jail.
teammates, Andre, who was on the yeah.
He says, "You don't know who Psycho Stu is?" Says, "Hell no." Psycho Stu's like, "I'll show you." Look at his hand. He crushes the can before it even touches him. They're acting. But this boy never grew up being able to compute that the wrestling is fake. He's not there. He can't compute it. And now everyone is basically trying to make sense of a borderline autistic retarded kid. Now he's not autistic enough to walk into oncoming traffic. He knows a red light from a green light, but they're awkward when it comes to interactions with other humans, and they don't understand. There's a lot of nuance. They don't understand the world. They don't understand humor. They don't understand. They don't get what's happening around them, and it becomes frustrating. And you'll see the frustration in them. I'll play it.
I think that's what.
Look at Stu's hand. Stu's hand is he crushed the can. Raja's not hurt. It didn't hit him. It's an act. Stu's thinking he knows what he's doing because you're backstage, with the wrestlers, and you're supposed to be coming into the ring with us. We're doing a skit together.
Oh, he's not a fucking worker, bro. Calm down.
Yeah, what the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? I will fuck him up, bro.
They don't understand that this kid's mentally ill. They don't understand that he's on the spectrum. They think he's a normal human like everybody else. They don't know he's mentally not there. They don't know what part of the autism spectrum he's on. They're thinking, okay, he's showing up here. He has a camera following him. He must be cognizant. He must be coherent. They don't know this kid's a time bomb. How would anybody know he's a time bomb? How would a woman know he's a time bomb? Mike Tyson used to talk about his issues. A time bomb is a good place because a boxing ring is a good place for a person who's a time bomb, not in the public. That's why that's why now when certain people are celebrities or they're time bombs, they have so many handlers around them. You're not going to see any of these these blow-ups because there's somebody that keeps us like a buffer between them and the public. Right now, they just sent this kid into the wolf. He is the wolf. They sent him into the sheep pasture. And these other guys had all good intentions. None of these other guys are realizing what the fuck is going on. Stu is like, what's wrong with this guy? He doesn't know what we're doing. He doesn't know where we're at. He doesn't know how this works. He should. He's 25 fucking years old. He should know what's going on. There's a camera following him around. They're confused about why he's confused. Keep listening.
He always think that we're working over here, like it's part of the fucking storyline.
He's not saying his head hurts. He's just wiping the liquid from his hair. He didn't hit the kid, man. He didn't hit the dude.
Kalia, Rampage. That's how we
No, bro.
Go ahead, Stu. He always think it's work.
Stu is literally offering a handshake. He wants to shake his hand. He doesn't know the kid is retarded. He doesn't know the kid is fucked up mentally. He doesn't know this. The only person until this day that knew this were Rampage Jackson and his baby mother. Now the world knows that his son is autistic and he's slow. We all know now. Anybody who has a brother, because it's always the boys, because remember, the injections are testosterone reactive. So your sister's not going to have the issues, but the brothers are going to have it. The boys are going to have it. The boys are always the victims of these injections. So the only people that knew until now were his parents. Now we all know that civilized society is not for him. And that's why Rampage is like, he's probably thinking jails would be a good option, but California, they're not going to lock him up. I'm sure he doesn't have a record. First time offender in California, even if it's a vicious assault, they're not going to give him any jail time if he's prosecuted at all, because this happened at a sanctioned event, and they're going to just argue that it went overboard and he was acting and the acting went bad, but he's autistic. He hurt this guy because he doesn't understand what's happening. Even now, he's wondering, why are you trying to shake my hand? You just hit me with a fake can, even though you didn't hit me. He's not fucking there. He's not there. He can't process. And the cameraman who's watching all this makes for good content. The cameraman's not going to tell him, hey, Raja, that's not what this is. There's no one there that Raja knows that he trusts, like his father should be. There's no one there that he trusts that can talk to him. That's why he's always with his dad. That's the only person he can talk to. That's the only person that can talk to him. This kid was a time bomb.
You know what's the good thing about this? Now I can make it something. I'm gonna have you run in and fuck that motherfucker up in the mouth. You know what?
They're all still joking. The guy's like, man, just like this, I'm gonna have you run up there in the mat, and you can get this guy. They're talking as if he's a wrestler too. They're not expecting him to try to kill Stu, bro. If he would have had a knife on him, he probably would have tried to stab Stu. You think these guys are talking to him thinking that if he had a weapon, he would use it against Stu? These hands are a weapon. There's no difference between a gun, a knife, and these fists when you're a fighter. It's punishment. It's mortal injury that you might not be able to come back from. And these guys are none the wiser of what's happening, because remember, he's autistic. He's the only black kid there. Because a lot of the black males, they're not able to have these conversations, be in these kind of spaces. They have problems. You can tell which ones are autistic versus which ones are not, because the ones who are not, we can speak a certain way. We talk a certain way. When they say, oh yeah, you talk white, what they're really saying is that you don't sound autistic. You must think you're better than me. All of us autistic boys, we act and talk the same way. But you sound like you're able to think and you're smart, and that's a problem, because you make us look bad. I had a brother and I have a cousin. My cousin, we just fell out. He's also injured as well. The same anger, mood swings. I found out he pulled a gun on my other cousin, his brother, just for no reason, because he's not all the way there. Now he's older now. He's in his 30s too. He's trying to grow out of it, but it's still there. He claims he can't read. I'm like, but you read text messages and Instagram every day. It's all a part of the injury. It's vaccine injury. It's something that a lot of young black men battle with. People misdiagnose and they think that it's from something else, and maybe it's the environment, maybe it's marijuana, maybe it's the music. Man, a lot of these kids they've been autistic their whole life. It's just that it's embarrassing, especially when you're a black woman. You want to tell your son has a mental illness because you're going to think he's retarded, or he's but he's not retarded. He's just not able to process data the way a regular boy, a regular man, a regular kid should. So his ability to learn is going to be incapacitated. He's going to learn slower. It's going to require more attention. And a lot of parents, they don't have the time, and they're frustrated. And I think Rampage Jackson was one of those parents. He wasn't there with him to groom him as a kid, and he knew he had a problem, and that's why he said, I'm putting money to the side for him to go to jail, because he knows the future for kids like that. He's seen them. We all have.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Talk to the president.
Yeah. If you can do that for me, I'll be cool. Yeah. Yeah, let's do that.
Now, if what happened was so bad and so offensive, and you felt that it was such a threat, you wouldn't still be there, and you wouldn't still be waiting to go into the ring with this guy. You would have fucking got the fuck out of there as fast as you could, because you're afraid of what's going on and you don't know what's happening. So obviously he didn't feel like he was in danger. So this isn't something where you felt like he was defending himself. There was no danger, or he would have left.
Hell yeah.
Yo, Matt, fucking seal that.
Yeah. Hey, yeah.
I'm sorry, bro. Hey, it's gonna all work out.
Listen to what he's saying. You really can't understand what he's saying because, again, he still doesn't understand why Psycho Stu is shaking his hand. He still doesn't get it. He still cannot process why is this man who just splashed me with liquid from a fake can that I thought hit me but didn't hit me, and he still doesn't understand that the can didn't hit him and it's just liquid because it was a fake can that he crushed. It was a prop can. He can't process a prop can as different than a real can. In his mind, he still just got hit over the head with an actual can of soda. But an actual can of soda wouldn't even explode if you hit someone in the head with it because it's actual aluminum and it's tightly sealed. This thing exploded when a motherfucker just squeezed it. He still is not, these men don't realize that he's not like them. He's incapacitated mentally. He's not fully he still doesn't understand what's happening. If you listen to what he's saying, he still hasn't processed what's going on.
Yeah,
I'll work out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Make sure he gets it.
I appreciate it.
He said, I didn't know. I thought you were with us. I thought you were doing. He has no idea. If you look Raja in his eyes right now, Stu is probably looking at him, but he doesn't want to be presumptuous or be called racist. But if Stu looked him in his eyes, he would realize there's nothing behind the eyes. There's no wheels turning. There's no thought. This kid is just basically walking around and just living by instinct only. There's no inward dialogue where there's something talking to himself, rationalizing his decisions, which is why he needs his father. He needs his handler with him at all times. Unfortunately, he doesn't have him. And now the rest of the public is going to pay and suffer.
I get it. We're working out. Well, he's gonna come out on your mat, too. I know you keep thinking we're working. We're always working.
I get it. Yeah. I get it now. Now you
know what I'm saying? Yeah. We're always working. So we'll.
Raja is not saying shit. He doesn't fucking know what's going on around him. He's not there. He wasn't there when he walked there in the first place. He can walk places. He can stop at it. He can walk up to a crosswalk. He knows don't cross in the red. Wait until it's green. Look both ways. Simple instructions he can do. Anything complicated, anything a little too much is going to frustrate him, confuse him, and he's going to lose his temper and he's going to lash out. He needs a caregiver there to calm him down. Have you ever met a kid that was extremely vaccine injured? And they're like, and they're going crazy, and their parents are crying, and their parents eventually learn to hold them, bring a blanket, tuck them in tight, make them feel secure, and you got to comfort them. You got to bring them down. You have to bring them down. That's what Raja needs now. But there's no one around him to comfort him, and the cameraman is keeping the camera on him because this is golden content. You're watching a deadly car accident in slow motion ahead of time, and no one's stopping him. They don't want to stop him. They want him to crash out. They want the views. They want the content, unfortunately. And this happens when you watch the TV shows. They're all on there fighting and acting crazy. It's all for content, and there's no one to say, hey, there's something wrong with these people. It's not just liquor. People go out and drink every day. It's not the liquor. It's not racism. It's not oppression. It's something. There's something cognitively going wrong with a lot of these people, and they platform them because watching someone else crash is entertaining because you're not dumb enough to crash yourself. So you'd rather pay someone else to go do something stupid that you're not willing to do. That's just the truth of us. We all support social media. We all support reality TV. What is it? That's all it is.
Set it up. I'll have them come out during your match so we could fucking seal the whole thing and it will make something out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Look at Raja's face. What is he even looking at? He's just gazing off into the sunset. He has no fucking idea what these men are talking about, what's going on in his head. He just got hit with a can, and everyone's going to think he's a bitch if he doesn't do something about it. That's all that's replaying in his mind. But he didn't attack Stu right now. He didn't attack the other guy. He didn't because he's still scared of losing. So he's going to make his move when the man is vulnerable and when he's basically at his weakest. Stu think it's over. He doesn't realize Raja hasn't even processed. Raja's still trying to figure out why the guy shook his hand in the first place. Nothing's over. Nothing's over. How do you marry a man like that, knowing that he can just come in that room and it's like being with someone who has extreme PTSD after they came back from Vietnam or the Korean War, and you don't know what the fuck's going on because sometimes they're not there. He's not there, unfortunately.
All right.
No, I'm beating this guy's ass, bro. I'm trying to see how long I get to stand there for. I don't know how long.
This is Raja. They're saying this is about 30 minutes later, maybe an hour later. An hour later, he's still processing the can, and he's still trying to figure out why that guy shook his hand. He's like, I don't know. I gotta fuck this guy up. He couldn't even process the apology. He doesn't understand that we've talked about this. It's over. We've moved on. There's a miscommunication. We're actually all here acting. You got a camera guy. I thought we were all working. I'm thinking you understand. I'm joking. I crushed the can. We're laughing. We're all laughing. I'm not really attacking you. We're acting. I'm an actor. Remember, Jamie Foxx famously said LL Cool J punched him when they were filming the movie, not the longest yard, but they were filming with Willie Beeman. And he says that LL Cool J just hauled off and hit him because he fell into the role so deep. And he's like, I'm acting. I'm an actor. I'm not serious. These are lines in a script, right? You know this is a movie. We're in a movie. We're not actual football players, right? You're a rapper and an actor. I'm an actor. This is a set. This is not a real NFL game. And he said LL Cool J did not necessarily understand that. What was the name of that damn movie? Let's see here. LL Cool J, Jamie Foxx movie. They only did one movie together. Any Given Sunday. And again, you have to figure out when people are acting, when they're not. If you're an autistic person, you're not going to know the fucking difference between acting and reality. What you're watching is somebody who cannot distinguish between the two. Stu was smiling when he first got picked up. He didn't even know the guy was behind him. He wasn't expecting somebody to be behind him. There was no, okay, go. There was no instruction for him to get in the stage and go behind Stu. It happens sometimes, but we all were actors. Stu was acting. This was a movie set, and he started doing this to another actor. It's the equivalent of that. This is the equivalent of Jamie Foxx hauling off, of LL Cool J hauling off and punching Jamie Foxx when they're acting. But what if LL Cool J would have knocked Jamie Foxx to the ground and just kept punching him? They're filming. It's a movie. But, and then the other actors don't know if this is a part of the act. That's why nobody's jumping in right away to stop it. No one knows if this is because think about it, it's unscripted sometimes, WWE. It's not exact. So no one really knows if this is a part of the act or this is something else or something's going, what everything else was fine, what's wrong? They introduced a black kid with autism into the equation. When you see things go wrong in a lot of parts of society, it's when you introduce autistic black kids into the equation. You get a lot of shootings, you get a lot of fights, you get a lot of murder, a lot of violence. And it's when you include them into the equation in places they shouldn't be. He shouldn't have been here. Now, this guy over here is like, wait a minute, this is off script. What is this? What's going on? They don't know if he's pulling punches. They don't know if he's just acting. But one guy, he actually figures it out, and that's who comes to break it up. And he still wants to kill Stu. So when people are saying it's attempted murder, it's because he wanted to kill Stu. He was trying to kill Stu. He wasn't just trying to knock him unconscious. He's already unconscious. He's looking directly at him. He wanted to kill Stu. That's why they keep saying attempted murder. Not saying he showed up there, oh, I'm going there to kill Stu. No. He decided he wanted to kill Stu once he got on top of Stu. He's not functioning mentally enough to make these decisions in advance, or he wouldn't be mentally ill. He's mentally ill because he can't make these decisions. Remember, you step on my Jordans, I pull a gun out and blow your brains out. Famously, that's what a lot of black kids were doing at one point. They're autistic. They have a mental problem. It's an impulsive thought. If they had time to think about it and rationalize it, well, then they wouldn't be fucking autistic, would they? They'd be normal people. They're not. They have issues with anger, mood swings, processing data, thinking. That's why they can't read. Figuring out equations, complicated. That's why they say, well, I'm just going to be a Democrat. I can't think about anything. If you think about stuff, you'll be a conservative because dumb shit won't make sense. Men cannot give birth to children. But if somebody's telling you that they can and you don't want to think about it, I'll just say that. But once you think about it, that doesn't make sense. I guess I'm a Republican. But when you're not able to think about stuff, of course you're gonna have to be a Democrat because you don't have to think. They tell you what to think. None of his family he has no friends for a reason. You've never seen him with a friend on the show. Doesn't have any cousins that come around. There's no one there except Jackson and the cameraman. Rampage Jackson, the cameraman, because they know he has problems. They should have never let him go in public without a handler because look at what he does. Now, I counted 24. It could have been 23 punches. If I punch somebody 5 times, they're not getting up. If I punch somebody 1 time, they might not. I don't punch people anymore. I don't do that. I can't do that. Because I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to be in jail. I don't have those type of anger issues. I don't have that in me. I'm not angry about anything. Even if I was angry, I know how to control my anger. I know how to walk away. He doesn't. He doesn't. And it's because he's not there. That's why the whole time they were trying to apologize to him and talk to him, he's spaced out. He's not even, it's not like Stu said, yeah, I'm sorry. He's like, you know what? I get it now. We were just, I thought it was a real. He didn't respond at all. He's just like, he wasn't there to begin with. In an MMA fight, there's a referee that literally will pull you off of someone once they're asleep. This is not an MMA fight. That referee is an actor himself, and he's just calling out, certain things. He's not supposed to be there. This guy is a fake athlete. He's a wrestler, but he's not a real athlete. There's no one who has the strength to really stop this guy except somebody else. Because they're autistic. They have that extra strength as well. And he couldn't stop him, and he goes in for another 10 plus direct punches to a man's head. Luckily, Stu has a beard, and he's heavy, and he's a bigger guy. Most other people would have passed away. Say it was Stu. Say Stu was standing here, and this guy was here, that guy would have died. Because he's smaller. He's smaller than him, so he would have died. Most of these men in here would have passed away. The only person that wouldn't have, probably another black person, but there's nobody black in the entire arena.
I'm tired of everybody fucking playing with me and shit. Think I'm always.
He's retarded. I don't say retarded to be the rude or the derogatory towards people that are retarded, but there's actually it's actually a clinical term for a person with his condition. His autism is not just that, there's also the damage is so severe. He has no idea what's happening. And the fucking cameraman is still following him for content. And he's not talking to him. The man is talking to himself. He's not talking to the camera guy. There's no one there to speak to him. He's not even there. There's no one to talk to about this.
Playing and shit. Call me bitch and shit. Not no fucking bitch, bro. At the end of the day, I'm gonna stand up for my fucking self because I'm proud of.
He's a 25-year-old man talking about. He sounds like a 13-year-old boy that, I don't know, somebody in the bathroom gave him a wedgie. He's embarrassed in front of the girls, and oh man, I gotta get him tomorrow. He pulled my underwear. He embarrassed me. Bro, you went to a wrestling event. You met some men that welcomed you in and were nice to you, and you lost your fucking mind because, well, you never had your mind to begin with to lose. It was never really yours. You were never there cognate. You were never really there. You know, for him, this is all a dream. He's not really functioning. He's not. Some people, you know what they say? It's called an inward dialogue. Like me, right? I understand that I have a consciousness. I see myself inside of myself, and I'm looking at a camera right now. I can see myself talking to myself. I understand that I'm actually a biological machine. I have a mind. I'm self-aware. Raja Jackson's not self-aware. He's literally just a person without the part of their mind where they have to think about stuff and make rational decisions. He's just literally living by instinct. You know how to fight, you know how to eat, you know how to hunt. You're not actually thinking about stuff. You can't think about stuff. It hurts. His father knew this, and they should have never sent him in public. But sometimes a lot of parents, and just give them benefit of the doubt, some parents are in denial and they hope that it goes away, and they don't want to have to feel like they have to, be there with their kids all the time. You want to be able to send them off into the world so they can grow up. And some parents just hope that they're wrong. I hope they're wrong. I hope my son's not like that. I hope I can just trust him to go out into the world. And when Rampage saw what happened, you can look at his reaction. He's like, I'll show you.
Everybody fucking playing with me, bro. Real shit. Shit pissed me off though, Andre. My bad. Why am I?
My bad. He just told you the man is in the range flatlining. And your response is, my bad. I had somebody one time, he didn't wake up 40 minutes. I was scared to death. The last thing I would have thought about saying is, my bad. No, that wasn't my bad. Now, me and this guy had an issue. So it wasn't like I just, was on some retarded. I actually had a really good reason. And me and him, I got into it, and he lost. But it wasn't, it was man to man. But, you have a 50-50 odds of any altercation going in your favor. It's not guaranteed for anybody. It could have just as easily been me in his shoes. The last thing I would have said was, my bad. That's not what that is. Like, again, he doesn't know what's happening. He's not really there. When they talk to his father.
Rampage Jackson goes live and addresses Raya's incident. Rampage Jackson went live for the first time since Raya's incident, condemning his son and consoling the rap.
I was there, Psycho 2. I don't condone what my son did at all. Very unfortunate. If I was there, look.
Again, he knows what his son did was fucked. And what's the first thing he says right now? If I was there, it wouldn't have happened because you're his caregiver. You would have been able to say, son, this is all fake. This is a movie set. You know how we watch cartoons? You know the cartoons? You know how you're watching a show? Yeah, this is a show. This is not real. And his son probably wouldn't have processed it all the way, but he would have said, oh, but Rampage would have stopped it from getting that far because he would have been the buffer. because he's the one with the brain capacity to figure out and to talk to him. He's the one that's actually aware of the world. The problem is when you're trying to teach your son while they're also a part of the world, there's going to be gaps. You have to go over all this stuff before you let him into the public. He's supposed to be at home like a caged animal because it's too dangerous, not for him, but for other people outside. You don't need to let him be outside. You don't need to let him go to a grocery store by himself. This could happen anywhere at any time. He could lose it. The walls start closing in on him. He starts spinning out because he's fucked up. He's not there. That mental breakdown, when you got size behind you and you got strength, you could hurt somebody. And typically they do hurt somebody, and where do they end up? In prison. But the other person that they hurt, they have to deal with the aftermath, the recovery, the treatment, the hospital, bro. It's horrible. And this could have been prevented if Rampage had just stayed with his son and watched him and not let him go somewhere by himself. If my son had autism and was this age, I wouldn't trust him to go to McDonald's by himself, not even in a drive-thru. I'm there with him at all times. Of course, he's going to want to get away from me eventually, but you can't let him go. You can't let him do what he wants to do. He's 25 years old physically. He's 13 years old mentally. Now, they say you'll grow out of it because in 10 years, when his son is 30-something years old, 40, then he'll have the mental capacity of a 25, 26-year-old. But he's older. That's what they're saying. It's not that you're autistic for life. It's just that you grow up slower. That's why they start talking and walking later in life. So you're able to process and be an adult later in life. So yeah, he's 25, but he's really only 13. People got to keep that in mind, and you got to be careful around these. And people, oh, that's racist. No, it's these black boys have been affected by mandatory childhood vaccines for them to go to schools, especially these public schools. Their parents didn't know any better. Didn't know. And now these boys are running around. Usually they keep them contained in the hoods they live in, Chicago, Baltimore, these certain black areas, and you see what they do to each other. That's autism. That's the anger issue. That's the same problem his son has. Now, you wouldn't have known this if you would have just stayed in the hood somewhere because you would just end up in jail, just another black on black. Nobody would care. You got him around other people from different races in society. Now everybody's going to see that and care. And it's kind of too late now.
Like that, but you know what I'm saying? I wasn't there. I'm a father, so you know, I gotta.
He feels guilty as fuck. He knew this was a possibility. I'm sure if the mother does an interview, she's going to say, I fucking told Rampage to keep an eye on him and to keep him under his watch. I didn't tell him he's a normal kid. Give him some keys to a car. You've never seen his son drive. You've never seen his son really do anything by himself. You've seen him make food with an air fryer. He's 13. He's mentally 13. He's a fucking child mentally. He won't be a 25-year-old for another 10 to 15, maybe 20 years from now. Then he'll be 25. Mentally. Rampage knows this. You can look at his eyes. You can look how he's talking. He's sad and he's hurt because the time bomb he knew his son was just went off. His money's going to be affected. His son's future is going to be affected. It's like, again, a time bomb is okay when you put them in a ring. Blow up. Blow up on the other motherfucker, and somebody's going to go in there and grab you and tell you when to stop. Just like when you used to give Forrest Gump that football, and he would run out of the end zone, and he would run out of the fucking stadium, and somebody would have to go grab Forrest and bring him back. That's Rampage's son. He would have kept punching until somebody stopped him. He wouldn't have been able to stop himself. He didn't stop himself. Am I making sense? Do you guys understand what I'm saying here, chat? You know, we have hundreds of people right now watching this live, and I mean, it's very important that we understand who we're dealing with and what's going on with them on a mental level. This is a mental issue, unfortunately. It's a bad combination. You give somebody with a mental illness size and strength. It's a horrible combination. What they call it, retard strength. You see certain people, they're just super strong, but they can't fucking read, and that's what that means. That's a real thing.
Have my son's back, but I'm gonna let justice, play out, take its course.
Rampage is hoping prison and the courts will succeed where he failed. Again, if it would be healthy for his son to get some years in jail because prison will give him time to mentally develop, and he won't be in the public. But if he's in jail, he can defend himself. He can fight all he wants. He might get more time, but maybe he needs more time. But he needs to be in a controlled environment. On the outside, Rampage has to literally hold his hand. You think they're doing a show together because Rampage needs a co-host? His son doesn't even talk. Have you ever seen Rampage and his son debate politics? Have you ever heard Rampage and his son talk about a business plan or anything to do with anything that's not just surface level conversation? Hey son, what you want to eat? Hey son, you're a vegan. Hey, because his son can't have those conversations. His son's not there. He never was there. And then somebody said, let me just follow you around and stream you. He got this fucking kid with him in tow and he's 25 and he can't really explain why. He had no choice. And a few months in, look at this tragedy already. Rampage wants him to go to jail, but it's California. He's not going to jail. Rampage isn't going to pay for no high-cost lawyer. He's going to have a public defender, or he's going to have to pay for it out of his own pocket. But Rampage is like, nah, I don't, this ain't cool. Rampage is hoping jail will help him, but it won't. Unless he needs time. Time is going to help him. If he's in jail for a few years, he'll probably be a 20-year-old mental capacity by the time he gets out. But they're not going to give him time, so there's going to have to be something else that his son does. Then he'll get time. Because right now he's just a first-time offender.
Not much I can do on that side, but be a father. Y'all know I can't talk about this. I can't talk about any details and stuff like that. I can't really go into nothing. I hope y'all can respect that. The shit put me in like a bad mood, you know what I'm saying? I feel bad about Psycho 2 and his family. His family had to see that. I'm not, taking up for my son or anything like that. I'm just telling you guys facts, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing what any father would do. Is being a father in hard moments like this. Sometimes you're proud of your kids and sometimes you're not proud of your kids, but at the end of the day, you're still a father. Hopefully one day I can meet Psycho Stu and shake his hand and have a man-to-man with him and stuff like that. But who knows? But I don't condone conduct. And I hope Psycho Stu can forgive me, myself. For not understanding everything, you know what I'm saying? And let's see what happens from here.
He did slightly mention it. He said he doesn't understand everything. You're thinking he's talking about himself. He's talking about Raja. And he's right. His son doesn't understand everything that's happening right now. He doesn't. Let's see here. Rampage Jackson. Bail money.
I knew them two wasn't going to college. And my two Japanese kids, I knew they was going to college. So I saved up college tuition for the Japanese kids and bail money for Roger and his brother. So if you go to jail, I'm just going to bail them out.
He knew. He knew, but like a good father, he wished that he was wrong, but he knew in his heart that his son has problems and issues. And he still let a ticking time bomb go into a public place, and the world just watched him explode in real time. And it could have been worse. It could have been a lot worse for both parties. It's unfortunate, but he knew this was coming. Like and subscribe, share the video. Shout out to our sponsor, cosigning.com. If you're looking for an apartment and you don't have a cosigner and you don't want to ask someone who's in your family or a friend to do it because they might say no, you can reach out to cosigning.com and they'll match you with a qualified cosigner within 1 to 3 days. I used them before a few years ago, so that's why I know the service works. You don't even pay until you're approved. I'm pretty sure that's still the policy. So thank you for cosigning.com for sponsoring this video. I'll be back in about an hour. We're going to go over some other topics. Thank you. And Right Wing Rico, Club Rico podcast, The Single Boyfriend. Follow us on all platforms if you can and share the videos. But now we all understand what really happened and why it happened and how to prevent it. So thank you. Cheers. And I'll see you shortly.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.